It's been a transition in my life. I am so excited for the next chapter of my life. It's going to be exciting, full of adventure, full of challenge, and full of, like, hopefully just positivity and warmth and, you know, all things that are good in the world and what we should actually be focused on.
Come get your duds in order, 'cause we're bound to cross the water. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. Come get your duds in order, 'cause we're bound to leave tomorrow. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, sometimes we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. I wrote me love a letter, I was on the Jenny Lynn. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. I wrote me love a letter and I signed it with a ring. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, sometimes we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Say, darling, Godsters, now I'm gonna leave ya. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. You promised that you'd marry me, but how you did deceive me. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, more times we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. We're bound for Liverpool, sometimes we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, more times we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away.
Well, I think it's safe to say tourist season has begun. And here we are, right near the end, sort of, right? And it's funny when you start thinking about the end of a journey, I think it's only natural to start thinking about the beginning and where it all started, right? And I do that. I probably do that more than I should, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. It's been an incredible journey, and I knew that ending this chapter, I wanted to do something special. And actually, for those that really know me and have been paying attention, they know that there was an entire different way I wanted to end this chapter that just didn't come to fruition, because I am an extremely fortunate man whose goals were achieved far earlier than I was assuming that they would be. And I cannot complain about that. What I can do, though, is rally and figure out a more creative way to wrap up this story that I've been telling in a way that brings it to the logical conclusion I've been wanting to bring it to for about 4 years now, just over, actually. And also have fun with what I'm doing, which is creating content here and making movies and really just living out the dreams I had when I was a little boy. So I've been living in a van full-time for 3.5 years. And the one thing that always sort of comes up is like if I'm going to do traveling, right? Why don't I do more traveling? And for those that know, I don't do that much traveling because I've got responsibilities that keep me in a single place, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But it is fun to lean in to the van life part of my life and do stuff like this, a little bit more sporadic. Go out, go traveling when I can within the means that I have available to me. And this is what we're doing. We're going on a little road trip. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna film, we're gonna eat some food, we're gonna visit some family, and we're gonna stop at places that are familiar, but ones that we haven't actually been to. So here I am at one place I have never gone to. I've got everything I need right over there in the good ship Lucky. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot busier than I thought it would be, but it is what it is. It's beautiful country up here in Canadaland. I cannot blame people for wanting to stop and take it in. We've got the OG beer in hand because obviously how else are we going to bookend this whole epic yarn? Yeah, we're going to hang out here for a while, make ourselves some dinner. Unfortunately, there is no overnight parking allowed at this particular rest stop, so we'll have to make like a tree and get out of here, as Biff once said. But that sounds like a future Matthew problem. You know, and I get it. The appeal of traveling, right? Getting out there, going to new places all the time, living nomadically. You know, I totally get that. And part of me will always wish that I could do that. And who knows what the future holds? Maybe that will be my retirement plan, so to speak. But for me, the way that this whole full-time van life has worked, being a dad and, you know, getting everything back on track when it came to the shambles of my life, let's say. Moments like this, where I find time specifically to go out, take it for me, do what I love to do, and see places like this, doing it a little less frequently has definitely kept it feeling a little bit more special, at least for me. Okay, for dinner tonight, we are not having paper clips. That would be weird, but we're gonna keep it very, very, very simple. I stopped at M&M Meats before I left town. We got the air fryer. We're gonna plug into the side of the good ship Lucky, and we're gonna make some nacho flavored chicken fingers. How could we go wrong? Oh, you've taken the captain's seat, I see. Yeah, you enjoying your ride in the good ship Lucky with our newest companion? Okay. Oh, there we go. Look at those bad boys. Woo! Oh, you Penny? You want some nacho cheese flavored chicken wings? Fingers, excuse me. Oh yeah? You just want to lick the ice off. That's fair. No judgment. My freezer was too full yet again. I could not keep their box. But I committed it to memory. 14 to 18 minutes at 350. Not just a head wreck, my friends. Although I don't know how long I'll remember that for. At least for tonight. How many of these suckers do we think I can suck back? I'm going to say, well, let's go with 3 because that's about all that fits in here without them touching each other. Social distance, you chicken fingers, you. Who remembers that bullshit? And away we go. How much longer on these guys? 6 minutes. Actually, I should probably give them one of these. Gosh, oh, smells like nachos. I mean, to be fair, it smells like fake nachos. But yeah, it's misleadingly warm. I'm not even in... Oh no, I am in BC. I was about to say, I'm not even in BC yet because I've always said that when you look at the forecast for the province of British Columbia, whatever it is, it has to be a BC temperature when you say it. Like, oh, it's 17 degrees. Yeah, but it's a BC 17, which usually means it's closer to 20 or 22. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't know what I mean. I know what I mean. That's all that matters. Bottom line is, it's very warm out in the sun, and I parked facing said sun, and it's going to be a minute until it's behind those trees. So this t-shirt's actually too much. We know what else is too much? The jeans. But they're not coming off. Everybody just calm down. Edge our way back here. Hello, Penny. I know we got a lot going on in the good ship Lucky right now. I know. But we did do some laundry. Let's grab, oh, I don't need both. Just one will do. All right, once I'm done my chicken fingers, you can have some dinner too, okay? That's some quality content. Quality content. I'm back wearing my hat again, which means I'm just gonna repurpose that ridiculous tan line sooner rather than later. Oh well. Gonna have to shave my head and stop wearing a hat if I want to get rid of it altogether. Just accept it. It's a part of me now. Whoop! My apologies, I just banged you around with the strap on my wife beater. I guess technically it's a tank top. Wife beaters should be tight, and we all know how I feel about tight clothing. I also picked up this, because you can't have chicken fingers without some sort of sauce. And they had everything there. Dill, plum, teriyaki, chipotle, all that stuff, right? But I'm like, those are nacho flavored chicken fingers. So first I reached for ranch, which I think that'd be a safe bet for anything. But I talked to the guy there and I was like, what is the ultimate sauce? And he's like, that would be better than the ranch. Oh, touche, salesman. We're going to give it a shot. Need a place to put my dip. Or are we just going to be a real van lifer? Ooh, I don't know if this defines real van lifer or not, but let's find out. Show me your goodies. Oh, it's not going to work. It's way too narrow. Well, you know what? I don't care. We're not making any more dishes other than the air fryer tonight. I have decreed it so. So we're just gonna do this. There you go. What's this sauce? Hello? Sweet, smoky, and tangy, all in one. That's what it says. It says, dip it, spread it, drizzle it. We chose the latter. Yeah, much like I'm using my front porch as a chair tonight. You don't have to pull out all the amenities just because you have them, right? I got a nice comfy camping chair up there. I've got a plate I could use. I don't want to, because we gotta leave soon. Ish. As for nacho flavored chicken fingers, right? Why not? They are actually fine enough without this dip, but I am inclined to agree. It's tasty and it's better than ranch would have been. Sometimes it pays to listen to others. Hi, Penny. Yeah, I'll get you your meat puck soon. Here, you just want to be the new spokespussy for M&M Meat's Ultimate Sauce? No? What about Lucky Lager? You are sliding all over. You never lay up here. What are you what are you doing? Being super cute. That's what you're doing. All right, Miss Penny, are you going to be able to get down? There you go. Can you get it? Good girl. Getting your fluffy butt palmed down to your food. What am I doing? Oh man, I've spent a lot of time this chapter talking about my older siblings and my older sister specifically. And I've been doing that because, let's call a spade a spade. I'm a very emotional person. Yes, it's true. Shocking. I know. But I've also tried to always pride myself on being a storyteller, right? And those are two, they can be separate things. But for me, it's beneficial that I have an outlet and a place to put all of the energy because they go hand in hand so very well when you're coping with things, right? And I know a lot of people that have been following along are wondering where this is all going. They're probably not looking on the brighter side of life, so to speak. And I promise we will get there. But for those who haven't been keeping up with all of the videos, all you need to know is that my sister and I, we were like best friends, thick as thieves. I look back on that time that I had this relationship with this half sibling of mine, which is like, that's the truth of it. But my older brother would always be the first, like I said before, to shut that shit down and say, that's not it. We are siblings. That's it. That's all. There's none of this half bullshit. And honestly, that's a great way to look at it. You know, they're all just labels, right? And that was a great way to approach all of it. And I did. I approached my relationship with them both like that. And my sister and I would like to think, helped each other out through some of the most difficult parts of our lives. Well, I mean, I can assume maybe I helped her out through one of the most difficult times of her life. I wasn't around for the first 11. Probably wouldn't have been much help anyway. And she was there for me through so many of my ups and downs. And she was always a consistent. I could always rely on her to lend an ear, give me some support, some encouragement, some advice. That was like without question, she was there for that. She always had my back. We would always talk candidly about her opinions on my experiences, but no matter what, at the end of the day, she had my back, and she always held me in this like respectful light. And I like to think I did the same for her, because I truly valued and loved what she was and what she meant to me, right? And I loved having that group of people in my life. Very quickly after her and my brother-in-law divorced, we went through, like I was talking about in the last video regarding this, the ups and downs and the crazy bonding over, making chocolate cake and all the silly stuff and laughing. Laughter truly is the best medicine. She's the one who said that to me. I'm not sure she coined the phrase, but she said it to me, and that has always stuck with me, and I will always truly believe that. That's why I live my life the way I live my life. After some time went by and she started, seeing this other guy, and they ended up ultimately getting married, and I had a new brother-in-law. It was so easy. Fast friends with him as well. Almost a brothership, for crying out loud. Looked at him like a brother, and I know he looked at me the same. And it's just, then I was seeing another girl, and we all just created this amazing group of friends, and I would go out of my way to make sure I always kept them in my life. Because for the longest time of my life, they weren't around that consistently, right? There was always separation because of the distance of them, living in a different city and whatnot. So in my adult life, after living in Edmonton for as long as I did and bonding with them as quickly as I had, I made a conscious effort to make sure that sort of remained after I moved back down to Calgary. And there were so many trips up there to see them and spend weekends with them, vacation with them. It was a great time, I was so high on life that I allowed the woman I was with to convince me of something I simply was not ready to do. Not that, whatever it is you might be thinking. But ultimately what had happened is there was a very serious rift between my older brother and I. And we're not going to get into that. That doesn't really matter. Maybe we get into that later. Future Matthew problem. Past Matthew problem, honestly. And instead of resolving it and apologizing and, burying the hatchet as I truly believe people that have issues are supposed to do, I was convinced by this woman I was with to just sweep it under the rug. Just move on with it. It's your brother, get over it. And I did. And at the time, I thought I was happy with that decision, right? Looking back, it just goes to show where I was in my life and what I was allowing to have happen to me and what I was tolerating. And it all sort of leads into where everything went. But it's a great example. Looking back on that, I'm like, if I had just made a different decision then, maybe. But you can't live that way, right? What has happened, but you definitely need to be able to learn from your past mistakes. And I know. Where is this going? We're getting there, I promise. We're almost there. I know a lot of people out there too watch videos like this where people are pouring stuff out and are concerned with what's going to come out and the stories that are going to be told. And ultimately, at the end of the day, people need to know, I'm not looking for sympathy out of any of this. I like to process my emotions by telling stories and getting it out of my system. I think that is the most important thing we can do. And this is all going to come full circle. But I just know that there's probably people out there that have gone through what I went through. And I hope to God you can at least take away a little bit of hope and know no matter how bad things get, you can get through it. All right, if we can't stay here, we got to move on. First things first, like most bottled sauces, refrigerate after opening. Oh, get your neck in there. All right, Penny, you ready? Sack up, little girl. We out of here. Well, my original plan, I guess my original plan was kaput. But my second plan was to go through Golden and start into the highway that leads to the Rogers Pass and go to this other restaurant I had had my eye on for a while. But I almost missed it because there's so much construction happening around it. They have completely ripped out all of the trees. I didn't even recognize it until I saw the little turnaround in it, and by that time I was gone. I was past it. But what I saw, there was tree debris and shit everywhere, so that's a no-go. Now I feel my stubborn side kicking in, and we're gonna press on to Revelstoke. I still have a good 2.5 solid hours before sunset, so we should be good. I did want to have an easier day today with the driving, but when the home's got a steering wheel, we can go wherever we want. Well, within reason. It may be the end of chapter 5, but it's still very much van life, and van life things still very much happen all the bloody time. Alright, quick stop in Revelstoke, clean the bugs off the windshield because they're back, just like the tourists. And now there is a place to stay in Revelstoke when you're passing through. And it's really not half bad. It's just on the other side of the bridge here as you're sort of leaving town. Right here on the right, and you'll see that there is a bunch of campers there right now. You can stay there up to, I don't know if it's 8, 10, 12 hours maybe. Decent little spot for sure. I have stayed there multiple times in the past. So in the interest of trying to stay at newer places while I'm on the road here, I want to push through towards the ferry because the campground at Shelter Bay is open. And I've never stayed there. I've driven through it, but I've never stayed there. It's a first come, first serve, so Alright, so usually we would just keep going straight here right to the ferry landing, and we'd be nice and early for the next ferry, but we're going to turn left right here and head on into Shelter Bay Provincial Park. Yeah, I think there's some vacancy. Oh, there's one camper down there. Oh, there's a guy over here with his fishing boat. One camper down there. Sign here says, a cash only. It's no problem. And there's Arrow Lake. What do you say, Penny? Hunker down for the night? Losing your mind yet, Penny? I know. We're totally screwing around, eh? Look at that, though. Boop. Oh, we're a little off. Back it up. Make that arrow disappear. Twist the van, twist the van. Good enough. I'm not going to mess with that anymore. Now we really jank, but hopefully the Starlink dish is pointed the right way for maximum efficiency, if I so choose to use it tonight anyway. We got a mess to clean up first. Before that, even. Uh-oh. I think they require you to bring your own pen. That's not ideal. I mean, we have one, but now I gotta walk all the way back to the van. Lucky looks ridiculous. Actually, these spots are huge. So I mean, it's nice. If I was staying longer, I probably wouldn't stay in this orientation. Well, I don't know. If I was, put out our ground mat, deploy POS. Kind of gives you a nice little bit of privacy. I appreciate the really wide spot. I could even put Lucky perfectly this way and then dismount the dish if I wanted to be that uppity about it. Anyway, pen. And there we go. Thank you very much, Tim from Unplugged Photography. Good reason to always carry cash on you. There we go. Register yourself and go take a dump if you need to. Very convenient. Yeah, obviously staying at Revelstoke, that would have been free. But, if you're abiding by the rules and, wanting to get out of there in a timely fashion, you got to do that. And if you don't want to be the guy cooking at that off the side of the road turnoff thing, right? Like I wouldn't put it past me, that's for darn sure, but this needs to go on my post. This is just so much nicer, right? A little bit more secluded, quieter, don't have to worry about traffic rushing by, and the ferry is right there, which is great. And I can sleep in, not have to worry about getting out of Dodge too early, even if I don't sleep in. Alberta boy my whole life. The province of British Columbia, at least this area, will always feel like home to me. I got no designs on staying up late, but I can't go to bed with this sort of mess in the good ship Lucky. My goodness, it's just... that's the first time this has happened since I put them up there. Granted, there's nothing holding them down, obviously, but it's a good excuse to clean the counter. Clean. Perfect. Wow. All right. Oh, no! Not our organic Pop-Tarts. Can you hold those for me? Thank you. All right, let's see what we got here. Get this back in here. Oh, that poor drawer. Excuse us, disco ball. Those aren't really nestling into each other. Hello? There we go. Maybe I just need to lean my chair back a little bit more, eh? What do you say? Can you help a guy out? Probably not. You don't have any opposable thumbs. You just do that. There. Oh, well, it pinches the bottom one a bit, but no, those just come flying out again. We'll just have to not take the corners like Ricky Racer. Maybe empty some of this shit out that we don't need. That's a good place to start. Will I do that? Probably not. It's a sad day when you gotta vacuum up your nerds. Oh man, I can't believe I almost forgot. That's just silly. Come on, close the door with the bugs in. We're in BC again. Oh gosh. Come on. Okay. Apologies. Nailed it. Well, I got no desire to do anything more today. That was a longer day of driving than I was anticipating, and we got a lot more to do. So I am going to say Good night for now, and enjoy my stay at Shelter Bay Provincial Park. Nice, comfortable sleep. Can't see nothing in here, huh? Turn on the light. Oh. Hi. Ready to tackle the day? All right then.
Forever roll, yo-ho, yo-ho, till I'm naught but skull and bones, yo-ho, yo-ho. From outcast a kingpin was born upon the sea. There was meant to walk the land, a pirate's life for me. Avast you winding up the sails, don't speak to mutiny. Find yourself a wanton quarter bottom of the sea. Among the shores of St. Anne to the eastern shores, I'll take my chances on the winds of loot and plunder stores. Our flag, it stands for us alone and no one else around. We owe our honor to the sea and not to any crown. Yo-ho, yo-ho, the seas forever roll. Yo-ho, yo-ho, the winds forever blow. Long after I met Davy Jones, still I'm not but skull and bones. Yo-ho. So me bullies bottoms up, raise the sails and drink with me. Here's to us, live long and long live piracy. Bring around into the white of treasures to be found. A pirate's life or nothing else, to the ship she's going down. Yo-ho, yo-ho, the seas forever roll. Yo-ho, yo-ho, the winds forever blow. Long after I met Davy Jones, still I'm not but skull and bones. Yo-ho. Heave-ho, me hearties, one by one. Heave-ho, me hearties, one by one. A pirate's life until we're done. A pirate's life until we're done. Heave-ho,
hearties bring her round. Heave-ho, me hearties bring her round. A pirate's life for me I found. A pirate's life for me I found. Yo-ho, the seas forever go. Yo-ho, the winds forever go. Long after I met Davy Jones, still none but skull and bones. Yo-ho, yo-ho, the seas forever go. Yo-ho, the winds forever go. Long after I met Davy Jones, still none but skull and bones. Yo-ho.
On October 18th, 2021, I woke up in this exact spot and my full-time van life officially began. And ever since then, I've referred to this specific spot as the birthplace of Lucky. That wasn't something I was planning. It just sort of happened that way, right? I guess that probably makes sense. The place where you spend your first night is going to mean something to you. And there has been a lot of places and things that have come to mean a lot to me over the years of doing this. I guess before my van life, but more importantly during my van life, you know? And like I said, when you're getting near the end of something, it's very natural to start thinking about the beginning, where everything started. And I sort of thought this would be the perfect stage to wrap things up in one way. So it's no secret that at the beginning of my van life, I was going through one of the hardest moments in my life, right? I was breaking up with the mother of my child, which was a brand new experience to me, obviously, right? And I was already like dealing with the fact that that was something I never ever wanted for myself. Right? I was raised very traditionally. I have traditional values. I really, really wanted it to work out as a family, but you know, that wasn't in the cards, so to speak, you know. It wasn't going to work out that way for us, and that is regrettable and unfortunate, but it is the way it is. And so I was trying to navigate these emotions of a heartbreak that I had never felt before. We had broken up, and for the first time in my life, I was living through a concept that I had heard friends of mine talk about before, where they, you know, you had broken up with the person that you were with, but for reasons you had to remain living with that person for an extended period of time. And this was something that was so unappealing to me when people would tell me that. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. The first thing I want is to get the heck out of Dodge. I don't want to be around that person, but here I was, and I found myself in that exact situation. And we were making do. It was only going to be for a couple weeks while we sorted everything out. And I mean, I was thankful to be able to remain in that position because I was able to still be in my daughter's life very consistently, obviously, right? We were all still cohabitating under the same roof. And as those 2 weeks were going by, I was starting to get these questions brought to me. And they were they really took me by surprise because they felt like very left field questions. They were all concerns, right? Concerns about how things could potentially be now that we were breaking up. But they weren't just general things. They were stuff that had never crossed my mind, and I would have assumed never would have crossed her mind. I was being asked these questions by the mother of my child, and they were really taking me aback. I didn't understand why, but they were so outlandish that the easiest way to answer the questions was to laugh them off, because they really was like, are you kidding? Like, that's just insane. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you ask that? Of course not this, of course not that. And I tried my best to not think too much of them, but it really got under my skin and started grating at me. Why were these questions being asked? Where were they coming from? And unfortunately, in a very short amount of time, I learned exactly where they were coming from. And obviously, we all know where this is going. These questions were being presented to her by my sister. I don't even know how to sit here and tell you how I felt, because I think I've probably done due process to deal with all of that. I do remember feeling like I had been out of my skin. I was out of my body. I had completely separated mind and body. And it was this absolute shock and absolute sadness. These questions that had been asked and projected by my sister. What if Matthew steals the baby and goes and lives on the side of the road in his Tacoma? What if Matthew takes the baby and then gives the baby to his mother to raise? And it was one thing when those questions were asked of me from the mother of my child, and that's why it was easy to laugh off, because they were just so insanely ludicrous. But when I found out the source came from my older sister, someone who had had my back for the entirety of my life, through every other hardship I had ever gone through, it was the biggest betrayal I had ever felt in my life. Still do. I spent an entire chapter of my life talking about all of the romantic heartbreak I've gone through. And if I was to add all of that up, it wouldn't even come close to how I felt when I realized what my sister was doing behind my back. She had this relationship with the mother of my child that, granted, had been good for everybody involved for a very long period of time. And then it was like a switch flipped without warning. And these absolutely insane questions, because there was no basis for any of that stuff to be assumed. And I don't even think the mother of my child would have made those leaps. You know, God love her, we've had our problems and differences and obvious reasons why we're not together, but I don't think for a second she would have had that stuff. Now, I can try and make up reasons why this happened. You know, like obviously the whole idea of me stealing my child and living on the side of the road, the origin of that thought could 100% be attributed to the fact that I had talked about van life before we broke up, about wanting to do van life. For sure, that's absolutely the origin of where that thought process could come from. But for my sister to take that information and make the leap to this dastardly criminal act that I would be perpetuating, committing, I have never felt my heart break so much and my entire life feel like it's shattering around me than when I realized that that's what was being said behind my back. And that is not an easy thing to deal with. And it seems very silly now to simply state that, because obviously. And it goes to show that the way I've always looked at relationships and extended family members should be upheld. When you're in a relationship with somebody and you create a friendship with their extended family members, that is a direct benefit of the romantic relationship. And that benefit goes away when the relationship no longer exists. I know lots of people will have opinions regarding that, but this is proof positive that it needs to be that way, because I still have to deal with today the fact that that friendship exists between them, and it breaks my heart every time they go up there to see my family. I have to deal with that, and that is not a relationship that should exist. You don't work it out between the two of you. Everybody goes their separate ways. That's just that's the healthiest way for everybody. Because the thing of the matter is, no matter who is saying, oh, I'm fine with it, it's fine. Yes, you can still be friends with my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, whatever it might be. That person is lying to some extent, because that is not an easy thing to process, nor should anybody have to process it. Relationships are hard enough as it is when you start introducing these crazy facets of exes being friends with family. No, clean cut, clean break, and I was not allowed to have that this time. And that would have been hard enough to deal with if they had just remained friends, right? I don't even know how I would have made that work. I'd like to think maybe I would have been able to figure it out. But discovering that my sister was suggesting these awful, terrible things that she believed I could do, that is a betrayal that has no forgiveness. And there wasn't even a slippery slope. It was black and then it was white. It completely flipped, and all of a sudden I was out and she was in, and I was being dragged through the mud, and I don't even understand why. And honestly, I'm not even interested in why anymore, because no matter what reason could be given to me for someone to say, someone who I loved, someone who loved me, someone who was family, whatever reason they would give for saying those things is 100% unacceptable. And it really goes to show that you truly cannot trust everyone automatically. And I've had to deal with that ever since the day I learned it, and I will have to deal with it for the rest of my life to a certain extent. But I tell you, every day gets better. Every year that passes gets easier, but it will always hurt. My heart will always remain broken to a certain extent. And like I say, unfortunately, it is what it is. Finally being able to sit down and talk about this after so much time has passed, it feels so good to allow this to stop living in my head rent-free. And if it ain't obvious why I chose this location to do this, well, this is why. So no matter what it is you might be dealing with, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how long you keep it in for, you gotta make sure that you let it out sometime.
less control me. When it rains, it pours. When the floodgates open, brace your shores. That pressure don't care when it breaks your doors. Say it's all you can take, better take some more. They said, make your bed, you lie in that bed. A king can only reign till instead there comes that day, it's off with his head. And night gets darkest right before dawn. What don't kill you makes you more strong. You'll have my mercy then when you're gone. Cause I know what it's like to test fate. Had my shoulders pressed with that weight. Stood up strong in spite of that hate. Night gets darkest right before dawn. What don't kill you makes you more strong. And I've been waiting for it so long.
Oh, well, this is definitely a good way to just let it all melt away. After I left the waterfall, I was thinking, all right, I'm going to check out a few different places. I'm not 100% sure where I want to stay tonight. I was even considering just staying at the birthplace of Lucky again. But I went down and I explored a little campground called Mount Abriel, I believe, just outside of Cusp. It was quite busy with people already, and it was really down there in the bush. Then I had the thought, and I'm like, wait, all the way back in chapter 1, I went down and visited Box Lake, which is between Cusp and New Denver. That could be a fun place to camp and sort of bring it all to a conclusion. And then it dawned on me. I have been coming to New Denver basically my entire life. I absolutely love this place. Every time I drive in here, it feels like I'm coming home, even more so now that the majority of my family lives out here. And I'm here all the time, and all the years that I've been coming here, I have never once camped in the campground in New Denver. It is always super packed all summer long. I checked the website. and there was availability. There's a few other people here. Who knows? Maybe more people will show up. But this, to me, is a perfect way to wrap up Chapter 5. And I couldn't let my full-time van life adventure come to a conclusion at this point without camping here. And now I can say I've done it. Cheers, Slow Can. Yeah, I don't even plan on doing that much. I stopped at the grocery store, grabbed some hot dog buns. I stopped at the car wash, gave Lucky a quick spritz because she was smattered in blood guts. And now we're just going to relax on the shore of my favorite place on earth. What more do you need? I wasn't going to set anything up because, yes, I could just go stay at my parents', obviously, but I will be there tomorrow night for sure. I didn't want to let this opportunity pass me by. So I was just going to roll in and just be like, hey, we camped. But no, if we're going to camp, we're going to camp. We got POS deployed. We got the ground mat out. It's the old ground mat because the new one to rein in 2025, or I guess kick off the 2025 camping season. That's in Grace O'Malley, who's not here. So we're going to use this one, and we're just going to hang out. Camping. I know I just did this, but it's very hot right now. It's a BC hot, so I need to do it again. Get that mountain water. In your hair, at least. Oh. Should we FaceTime Mom? See how long it takes her to realize where we are? Now, I did honk as I drove by their house. That's like a thing you do out here in the valley, apparently. But I didn't receive a text message, so they probably didn't know it was me, and I didn't see anybody out. So no signs of life, but all the cars were there.
Yes, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. What are you doing?
Scratching some lottery tickets. What are you doing?
Hanging out at the campground.
What campground are you at? Are you at the ferry?
No.
Okay. Oh, are you here?
Yeah.
In New Denver?
Yeah, I'm at Centennial Campground. Come on. Come on. You had your dinner. Come enjoy the view of Slow Can with me. Here you go. Camping in New Denver, Penny. Booyah! So much better. So close to being perfect. Yes, much better. Oh, I may regret this in a few hours, but I may not. It may stay warm right till I have to go to bed. And I would be A-okay with that. Is so perfect right now. The lake is still like glass. There's no wind. It's still warm. Somebody is ruining my peace and quiet by texting. That's okay. My phone's all the way over there. And I even ate all my pasta salad and left the yucky bits. I can't bring myself to make a hot dog. I just don't even want to. I just want to sit here and it's actually, it's perfect right now. I think this is the way it would be this time of year.
I'll give it a couple months and this place will absolutely be bopping with families and kids, and it won't be quiet. Well, until after quiet time, I suppose, but this is what I need in my life. This is what I want in my life. I do stuff like this and my brain just starts reeling to the future, you know, with Lucky and whatever else might come down the road, maybe a big trailer of some sort that I can convert, or some sort of camper and get out to places like this for extended periods of time in the summer. Do camping in places like this, or even just this place. This is where I spent all my summers when I was growing up. And I like adventuring and exploring around and discovering new places, but not as much as I just simply love coming here. Not gonna lie, my view's way better than yours right now. Well, you've seen it, you know.
Every day when I open my eyes, now it feels like a Saturday. Taking down from the shelf all the parts of myself that are packed away. If it's love, put the joy in my heart. Is it God by another name? Who's to say how it goes? All I know is I'm back in the world again. Like the lift of a curse, got a whole different person inside my head. No more trudging around stony-eyed through the town like the living dead. Nah, if it's love, lift us up from the dark. Is it God by another name? Who's to say how it goes? All I know is I'm back in the world again. Back in the world again. It's the only way to
Listen, Lucky, get your poop in a group. Are you kidding me? You are ruining the morning view. What do you say, Penny? Yeah, I get why that's such a cool thing. I agree. You know, near the beginning of this chapter, I started promoting the story that I wanted to tell. More accurately, the story I wanted to get off my chest. I started promoting it under the guise of every great story needs a good villain. Now, here we are at the end of the story. And when I was conceiving that concept, obviously in my mind, my sister was the villain. But after giving it a lot of thought and, you know, processing all of that happened to me, processing that over 4+ years, that's just simply not true, right? A villain is somebody that the hero can overcome, finds themselves at conflict with, and can either change or defeat, right? Well, I was never going to be able to change who my sister was. She was always going to do whatever she was going to do. And I could spend the rest of my life living in turmoil and beating myself up over the fact that she betrayed me. Or I could look at the truth of my situation, and that's that I was the villain of my own story. And that might seem a little on the nose, and maybe it is, but before I was even thinking about this whole villain concept, I had listened to a song that rang so true to me, and it's what I started trying to design my life around from that point forward, after I saw all of that information on that fateful day. And I truly believe my life changed in that moment, right? And I could have spiraled right out of control and allowed the stuff that was in my life to continue to affect me in this negative way. But I heard the song and I listened to the lyrics, and that's why I titled this chapter Captain. Because I truly believe that it takes an absolute shitstorm to turn you in to the captain of your own life. It sounds corny, and that's because it is, but it's also true. I was living my life the best as I could, trying to have fun at every single angle and allowing all of these people into my life, and I was allowing them to affect me. Just like I said at the beginning, a decision was made for me to try to make up with somebody in a way that was not appropriate to me. And then I also didn't see what was potentially going to happen, right? Obviously, I don't think there was any way I was going to see that that's how my sister was going to talk about me or view me in this light, as basically a common criminal that would have abducted his daughter. That seems insane every time I say it out loud, but it is what it is. It took all of that coming to a head and my life feeling like it was an absolute shambles for me to say enough, that is it. And ever since then, I have been preaching the same thing over and over again. We need more positivity in our lives, less negativity. You got to be able to make those tough decisions. That's what a captain has to do. And in order to get my life back on course for where I wanted it to be, I had to cut people out and start focusing in. We say, you can't make anybody else happy until you make yourself happy. That is 100% true. And you can't make yourself happy until you realize what's wrong in your life and whether or not you can actually
correct those things, that's completely up to you. But I was staring down the barrel of a whole bunch of garbage that I didn't want to deal with anymore, and it was time to say, there's nobody else to blame. There's nobody else to be mad at. I got to look at myself and figure out what I can do to get my life where I want it to be. And you have all been watching me do that for the last 5 chapters, and I have absolutely done that. You want to get your life back on track? You want to be the captain of your life? You got to make some hard decisions.
Don't keep you from your sleep at night. Can you handle what it takes? Hold the lessons from your mistakes, ghosts and the shame. Can you take the blame? It was a stormy sea that made a captain out of me. It was a rolling rogue and a wild ocean. I once thought I knew it all, floating along on a flat calm. The North Atlantic shore cures you of that notion. Life's an ocean. It was a stormy sea that made the captain that you see. I was a roving rogue on a wild ocean. I once thought I knew it all, floating along on a flat calm. The North Atlantic shore cured me of that notion. It was a stormy sea that made a captain out of me. It was a rolling rogue and a wild
I've done a lot to get ship lucky over the years. Now, we can add cargo delivery to that list.
Whiskey, whiskey, the singer's getting sore. We raised the roof, now we're lowering the floor. The band is blistered, but we got a little more. When I say 1, 2, you say 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All together gone. It's now or never if you want another song. This song won't sing itself. So soldiers at my side, come on, it's you and me tonight. Whiskey, whiskey, the singer's getting sore. We raised the roof, now we're lowering the floor. The band is blistered, but we got a little more. When I say 1, 2, you say 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You gotta let him play. If the devils wanna dance, then the piper wants his pay. Hide me in a hiding place where good sense never goes. Take me to the fountain where the fire water flows. We'll find our alibis and lies and lose ourselves tonight. Whiskey, whiskey, the singer's getting sore. On the dance floor is like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Not saying it ain't something that you shouldn't try to do. Don't do it for me though, do it for you. You've been minding your manners and behaving yourself, but there's still a lot of bottles left upon the shelf. So wet my little whistle now and give a dog a bone. I can take it up and out, you can't do it alone. So soldiers at my side, it's you and me tonight. Whiskey, whiskey, the singer's getting sore. We raised the roof, now we're lowering the floor. The band is blistered, but we got a little more. When I say 1, 2, you say 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whiskey, whiskey, the singer's getting sore. We raised the roof, now we're lowering the floor. The band is blistered, but we got a little more. When I say 1, 2, you say 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
At the end, you start thinking about the beginning. And here we are, right where it all started. You know, back then when I first came out to this spot, my intention was to vent, to get off of my chest all of the emotions and the negativity that I was feeling inside myself then, based on what had happened. And I was trying to navigate a way around explaining my side of things without, you know, seeming like somebody who was just stomping his feet and demanding attention and demanding to be treated better. Back then what I was saying is that you needed to, we as people, need to cut negativity out of our life, right? If we're surrounding ourselves with negative people, we got to get those people out of our life. If we're surrounded by negative thoughts, we got to do everything in our power to alleviate those thoughts and focus on the positive things in our life. And that's exactly what I did. Over 3.5 years, I followed exactly what I had said in that video, and I'm quite happy with the way things have turned out. I'll always find it fascinating how, as humans, when bad shit happens to us, we really start focusing on all of the bad stuff, really start focusing on that negativity. It's probably because when stuff like that happens to us, what we want to do is scream and yell, let out all of the negative feelings that we are feeling, and, you know, get even. You know, we want to convince the people that are saying horrible things to us or about us that they're wrong, and force them to think the way we think. And that's just not a great way to live life, really. That's what I could have done back then, right? I felt myself being overtaken by my emotions and wanting to just scream and yell into the void and get my point across and be treated properly. But that would not have gotten me anywhere. So I decided, fuck it. I was just going to prove everybody wrong by taking my time and living my life on my terms in a more positive way. I was living my life back then for everybody else except myself. I was always trying to make everybody else happier, and at that point, it really truly felt like it had gotten me absolutely nowhere. And not only that, those emotions and feelings are hard enough to like comprehend and deal with. I was also staring down the barrel of an uncharted time in my life, completely unknown to me. I was a brand new father. And I knew that I had to let all that negativity and crap go. And looking back, that letting go of the negativity and letting go of the wanting revenge and wanting to settle the score and all of that, that was always the hardest part of all of this. It was easy to show up and be a dad because that was always what I was going to do. Yeah, I didn't do it in the most traditional sense. We can see that very plainly, but I did it, and there was never going to be any other way. From the moment I became a father, everything in my life became about that little girl, and I knew no matter what, I would give up anything for her. I would go above and beyond to the ends of the earth and back for her, and I don't know why anybody else in that situation would do anything differently. I cannot comprehend that train of thought. So that part was easy. And I have spent the last 3.5 years doing exactly that and showing what it means to me, what's important to me, and that is worth way more than settling the score ever would have. You know, it's very regrettable and unfortunate that me choosing to live my life for myself and be more positive came at the expense of relationships in my life. That will never be an easy thing to just accept, but it was something that absolutely had to happen. Because just like what I said back then, the same rings true today. What I needed in my life then was more positive things, less negative things. And as soon as I started doing exactly that, everything in my life started to look up. You know, that whole idea about putting positivity out into the universe and that's what you're going to get back, that's exactly what I said. And that's exactly what has happened. I completely changed how I was living my life, how I was approaching the problems in my life, reminding myself of what was important, applying what I had learned. And there ain't a day in the last 3.5 years that I can truly, truly complain about in that way. And yes, loss of any kind will always be hard to deal with, and that is something that I will always have to struggle with for my entire life. And it's easy for me to just get on here and say, stop being negative, just be positive. But that's insane. That can never just be the way, because we're human beings. We've got ranges of emotions. Shit happens all of the time. But it's all about what you focus on, you know? I still to this day have feelings of wanting to settle the score and get even because I feel like what was done to me was a huge betrayal, a huge atrocity, and it absolutely 100% was, but there's nothing I can do about it. I can piss and moan and scream into the void as much as I want. Nothing's going to change. What happened, happened. I just have to remind myself that I hope the relationship my sister has with her was worth it, and is worth it, and continues to be worth it. Everybody deserves to be happy. It cost her her relationship with me, and I think, a little bit more importantly, it cost her the ability to see what I am like as a father. That was a very, very wise person once told me that that's what I should focus on, and I've been trying to do that, and it's true. It's sad and unfortunate, but true. And in a way, that's all I really need. Because it will always 100% be about my little girl and giving her the best life that I can, while also having a lot of fun while we do it. I've taken myself from a guy who was pretty down on his luck, feeling defeated, not knowing what direction to go or even what life was going to mean for me, to a place where I can do what I've wanted to do since I was a little boy, put smiles on people's faces almost on the daily, and I've gone from building a tiny home on wheels twice from the ground up with my bare hands to being able to provide a sticks and bricks home in an absolutely bonkers economy for myself and my little girl. If that's not proof positive of staying the course, remaining positive, and focusing on the good in life, I don't know what is. It just goes to show that when you stop focusing on all the bad stuff that happens to you and the pissing and the moaning about woe is me, when is my time going to come, and you just put on your big boy pants, buckle up, be true to yourself, don't take everything too seriously, work hard and stay focused, you can overcome all that nonsense draped on you from other people. Draped? Sure. More like dumped on you by an excavator. But still. You know, becoming a father and then all of a sudden living my life as this nomad, two things I had never done. It's been an absolutely insane ride. Like, absolutely unbelievable. I don't regret a minute of it. I'm thankful for the opportunity that I had to do it. And I'm also proud of myself for being able to do it. Right? Had I not done what I did in terms of leaning into van life, doing this full time, I would have found another way. I may not have been as happy. I may not have felt as successful, but I still would have had the love of my child. I still would have had clothes on my back and opportunities to change and make improvements to my life. That's all well and good. But I don't feel like living in that alternate universe right now. I feel like celebrating my achievements, celebrating everything I've done, everything I've experienced. And I want to look forward to the future, because another thing I've learned is that life is worth living. You know, I've always been scared of mortality and what's going to happen when I die. But after becoming a father and feeling like I actually fulfilled something in my life, it's just a little less scary, you know? And the good ship Lucky has always been a beacon of hope for me and a reason to just keep pressing on. And now she's exactly what she's supposed to be, which is a promise to my little girl that Dad's not going anywhere. Because if we can't show up for our kids, what the hell are we doing?
There's a light inside of all of us. It's never hiding, you just have to light it. It's the one thing that you gotta trust. It's like a diamond, you just have to find it. So if you ever feel like giving up, yeah, just remember that we were all meant to fly. Spread your wings across the universe. It's your time it's your time to shine. There's a light inside of all of us. Soon you'll find that it's your time to fly. Your time to fly. A little help is all it ever takes. Somebody else to tell you it's worth fighting. A single step becomes a leap of faith. That's when you realize as you started flying. So don't you ever say you're giving up. No, there's no looking back, 'cause we were all meant to fly. Spread your wings across the universe. It's your time to, it's your time to shine. There's a light inside of all of us. Soon you'll find that it's your time to fly. It's your time to fly. Just reach up, don't give up until you touch the sky. Just reach up, don't give up until you've realized that we were all meant to fly. Spread your wings across the universe. It's your time to, it's your time to shine.